12.5b is heavily centered around ADC, as 7 different marksmen were altered this patch. We'll be breaking everything down and giving you guys a complete update on the solo queue meta thanks to the help of our challenger players and analyzing the most recent data. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. It's no secret how dominant of a top laner Tryndamere has become, so what can you use to shut him down? Warwick top is a pick seeing great success into Trynd for a multitude of reasons. Both champions thrive in drawn-out extended fights, but Warwick has tools to limit Tryndamere's potency. With Warwick's built-in damage reduction, sustain from Q, and extra durability from barrier, he can go toe-to-toe with Trynd in the 1v1. Warwick can force Trynd to use ultimate and then use his own ult to drown out the Tryndamere ult timer. The standard build is a Blade Rush into Sunfire 2nd and Titanic Hydra 3rd. Lethal Tempo as the keystone gives you even more power to match Tryndamere in extended fights. Warwick has great value right now for the state of the solo queue meta and is an S tier top for 12.5b. Since there were no direct changes to top lane this patch, the meta doesn't shift around very much. Tryndamere, Shen, Garen, and Quinn remain in the OP tier as the highest priority solo queue carries. One minor adjustment we're making is shifting Gwen into C tier. Nerf's last patch hit her extremely hard, and she's not worth playing for solo queue over the majority of top laners. Despite Ryze's abysmal solo queue win rate, he was actually nerfed again due to pro play presence. We'll cover the changes when going over mid lane, but for top lane Ryze, we definitely recommend staying away. Garen, Yorick, and Nasus are the top 3 low elo carries of the patch. Tryndamere, Fiora, and Darius are all great ban options. Riot hasn't made it easy on Master Yi mains in recent patches, as he's now been changed on 3 separate occasions. For 12.5b, Master Yi has his health moved back up from 550 to 599. E true damage is going back up from 30 scaling to 58 to 30 scaling to 62. Ultimate cooldown sees a revert as well, going from 100 scaling to 85 seconds back to 85 seconds at all ranks. The on-hit builds are what you want to prioritize right now, as the Q changes from last patch have made lethality much weaker. As a result of these buffs, we have Yi Alpha striking into S tier as a strong solo queue jungler. Keep in mind our tier lists are catered towards what's best for Diamond and below. Masters, Elo, and above, Yi would definitely be a lot lower, but it's pointless to rank for that Elo bracket since only a small percent of players reside there. Complete jungle tier list consists of Hecarim, Diana, and Kha'Zix as the most broken hard carry solo queue picks. If you're looking for a good answer to Hecarim, then consider adding Trundle to your champion pool. Trundle can destroy Hecarim in early skirmishes, as he has the ability to steal away so much of Hex damage. When phase rushes on cooldown, Trundle E slow makes Hecarim passive super weak, while Trundle Q takes away even more AD. Hecarim loves diving the backline in teamfights, so Trundle ultimate makes it very easy to burst him down. As for Gwen jungle, she's experienced the same fate as top lane Gwen. Nerfs were too much to swallow, and she's no longer a viable pick for the majority of elos. A few of the best low elo junglers you should be spamming are Master Yi, Volibear, and Shyvana. Yi, Diana, and Hecarim are great bans for the current meta. For those trying to make Ryze work for solo queue, we commend you on that one. Unfortunately, he's been hit again though with a nerf to Q damage. Base is lowered by 15 at max rank, however the AP ratio is bumped up by 5%. Overall, a net nerf. Passive max mana has been increased from 5% per 100 AP to 10% per 100 AP. Ryze won't see a drastic change from his current power level, but he'll still remain a low priority pick for solo queue. Ryze will continue to struggle down in C tier for the time being. Ahri, Fizz, and Veigar are on a level above the rest of the competition, warranting them OP tier slots. Always a very niche mid lane pick, but someone who does extremely well into AD mids for 12.5b is Rumble. Rumble was thrown in a bit of a random buff to his base armor a few patches back, which has made him highly lethal into mids like Yasuo, Zed, Yone, and Talon. Pantheon mid is another who can fill a similar role in shutting down highly contested melee picks. Point-and-click stun combined with damage immunity allows Panth to easily outtrade melee mids as you render their mobility pretty useless. Both Rumble and Panth are placed in S tier as great solo queue carry options. For low elo, the best champs of the patch include Veigar, Malzahar, and Annie. Zed, Kassadin, and Ahri are 3 of the best bans. Very similar to Rise, Aphelios has a difficult time finding success in solo queue, yet his pro play presence leads to Riot nerfing him anyways. Base armor dropped from 28 to 26, while his base health takes a dip from 530 to 510. The scaling power of Aphelios is pretty ridiculous, so Riot's trying to even things out by giving the enemy a greater chance at exploiting him early on. We've had Aphelios placed in C tier for a while now, and these nerfs will solidify that spot even further. Keep in mind, this is a solo queue tier list and not competitive, so even though a champion may be top tier in pro play, it doesn't always translate over to solo queue. This has so often been the case with Aphelios, as the average player has a very difficult time making the pick more consistent than alternative options. Ashe, on the other hand, is looking like a great solo queue pickup for 12.5B. W mana cost is increased by 5 at rank 1, but lowered by 15 at max rank. For a spell you max out first and can spam off cooldown, this is a win for most games. Ultimate cooldown has received a massive buff, dropping by 20 seconds at rank 1. Solo queue is all about finding catch plays and capitalizing on the enemy's mispositioning, so this buff will drastically increase Ashe's power level. With so many other marksmen nerfed and Ashe seeing buffs, she'll be a great S tier pickup moving forward. A buff to bolster Draven's lane dominance has been issued, with his base AD increased from 60 to 62. We already know the memes will be fresh with this one, but in all honesty, it could have been worse. Riot could have increased Draven's ultimate damage at max rank only, so at least this buff will help you out every single game. Tier list position won't be altered for the time being, as Draven will be placed in A tier. Jinx has seen some more impactful changes with a nerf to her Fishbone's mana cost, along with a Fishbone's range reduction. Both changes look to target Jinx's early game, as the stats remain the same when you've got max rank in Q. By no means will these nerfs completely kill Jinx, but her time in OP tier has come to an end. We'll be shifting Jinx from OP into S for 12.5B. Lucian's scaling power has shot up, with his AD growth going from 2.3 to 2.9 and passive AD ratio going from 10 to 20%. An opposite angle compared to Jinx, as Riot is looking to bolster Lucian's late game without increasing any early game power. Our analysts don't see these changes being significant enough to warrant a push into S tier, so Lucian slots into A for another patch. Crit Varus has received a jolt in strength, with his W passive damage increased from 7 scaling to 15 to 7 scaling to 21. Ultimate base damage has been increased at the later ranks only. The W buff should lead to Poke Varus being phased out and Crit making a considerable comeback. Even before this buff, Crit Varus has been outperforming lethality in solo queue, so if you want to pick the champ up, Crit is the way to go. We'll be pushing Varus up one tier from C into B. Zeri has been issued the most amount of changes for any champion in 12.5B, starting with her base AD going from 58 to 53. A 5 base AD nerf is way more impactful than most people may think, so this will lead to negative ramifications. Base armor have been lowered as well. Basic attack max health damage has been reduced from 3 scaling to 15% down to 1 scaling to 10%. Q total physical damage is slightly increased from 9 scaling to 25 to 10 scaling to 30. E cooldown is increased from 23 scaling to 19 to 23 at all ranks. E pierce damage drops at the early ranks, going from 80 scaling to 100 to 60 scaling to 100%. Ultimate stacks per champion hit by initial lightning crash has gone up from 3 to 4. There's a kicker though, as ultimate bonus movement speed per stack has dropped from 2 to 1.5%. This means the attack speed you receive on cast will remain the same, but the amount you can stack over time is lower. There's no question these changes mold together as net nerfs, and will lead to Zeri falling off her pedestal in 12.5B. There's a great amount of strong S tier picks as well right now, with Samira, Ashe, Tristana, and Seraphine all recently buffed. Best low elo ADCs include Veigar, Misfortune, and Ashe. Vayne, Zeri, and Samira are all great bans for 12.5B. A nerf to Locket has been pushed to live, which has indirectly affected a large number of supports. Locket has been the clear-cut favorite in recent patches, so Riot wants Even Shroud to be given more priority. There have also been certain ranged supports like Senna seeing amazing success with Locket, so that build likely is phased out as a result of this nerf. Passive bonus armor and magic resist has been reduced from 5 to 3. Active shield dropped from 230 scaling to 385 to 200 scaling to 365. Instead of autopilot building Locket on picks like Leona, Nautilus, and Blitzcrank, opting for the alternative Even Shroud or Shirelia's will be better in games where you're snowballing. As a matter of fact, Nautilus players have actually been winning more with Even Shroud prior to these Locket nerfs. Locket will remain a viable pickup against assassin comps, but you should be building Even Shroud in more games from now on. Senna, Janna, Blitz, and Soraka make up the OP tier list for support. Even though the Locket nerfs won't drastically reduce the power level of melee picks, enchanters receive a nice indirect boost in strength because of it. Less shielding and defensive stats on Locket will make it easier for opponents to win out on skirmishes throughout the game. Best low elo supports for 12.5B are Soraka, Blitzcrank, and Zyra. Renata Glask, Blitz, and Lulu should be added to the ban list. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. So there's a quick update on the solo queue tier list for the 12.5B hotfix update. And with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you back soon.